Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello Internet, we are back and I must tell you I'm very excited because for 3.5 years we've been doing this and we've had millions of views actually, and I know there's some people who wanted to challenge me when I say millions of views, but if you go to Legacy to the YouTube channel and you click on a more or about and you scroll down, you will actually find all the statistics. It is there, and there you will find the millions of views I'm talking about. But despite all the millions of views, I never had the privilege to speak to somebody from the other side, from the SWAPO side, known as PLAN, the military wing, the People's Liberation Army of Namibia, as they were known. And of course, we never knew these guys, you know, we respected them very, very much. I mean, if you speak to any South African soldier, he's going to tell you, and it comes out on Legacy too, that by 1985 and onwards, they've developed into a very, very good fighting force. And it was hard fights between the people going on. And of course, a lot of them were truly believing in their cause, as we were believing as well. And now I'm very happy to say that after all these years which has gone past, there's no enemy ship between us anymore. There's a lot of South Africans who go to Namibia to look at where they spent their youth. Some go to Angola. They try to collect, you know, what they've lost there, because in war you will always lose something. You lose part of your soul. That is the horrible thing about war. And so it's nice for me, and it's fantastic to reach out to the other side. And I want to say up front, if you are a member of PLAN or if you're a member of SWAPO and you think you can come and educate us and talk to us, tell us your story, please contact me. Just get hold of me. It can be arranged. So we've got somebody here, but before we start, I just want to quickly go to the sponsor of this episode, and then we will start with the proceedings. There's something I want to bring to your attention, and that is Joseph James. That's an author, and he wrote many, many books, dozens of books, and all of them has to do with South African military, has to do with espionage, counterterrorism, that type of thing. And each of those books are written with a specific purpose. And there are 53 of them. And Joseph James has been a sponsor of this channel like in forever, since the very first video came out. So whatever Joseph James books you buy, come back to Legacy. And they are available on audio, they're available on Kindle, they're available in paper, hardcover and softcover. All of them are available on Amazon. Some of the books are available in South Africa as well, in softcover. And I'll leave the details here. I urge you to have a look at it. Go to the website, have a look at the website. And I'm sure you're going to discover marvelous things there. I can be very blunt to you. If you like Legacy, if you want to support Legacy, want to support us in what we do, then please go and look at the Joseph James books. Get hold of them. You're going to learn things which you didn't know. And a lot of the things we've discussed on Legacy has also come out in those books. And what is fascinating, those books were written before Legacy came. So they were deeper knowledge than what I think most of us would realize. So again, guys, Joseph James, go and look at it. Joseph Nkale, welcome here, sir. Thank you for contacting me. Thank you for looking at Legacy and making those nice comments, which made that we are now speaking to each other today. Can I ask you, tell me, where do you come from? What happened? How did you end up in PLAN? And what happened further then?
Okay, because I was actually born the village of Okongo. Now it's a town actually. Okongo is actually 100 kilometers from Inanna. I thought those who worked in South African Army and police probably they might know these places because both in Okongo and Enana, they were army bases. So, and there's a road that connected from Enana to Rundu, which was known as Shandaria Road. I think the army used to call it like that. So this is where I was born. My mother was a nurse. And then my father had worked in the mines. He worked in Johannesburg, in the gold mines, Longton. And then he came to work in Chumred mine. However, when I was growing up, he already left the working, so he was just concentrating on his farming activities. He farmed goats, cattle, horses, and all that. So I only came to know him as a farmer. However, early 70s, while I was just 2 years, 10, 3 years, my parents moved from the village of Congo. They went to the village, let's say 30 or so kilometers southeastern of Congo itself, because my mother went to open a clinic there as a nurse. So this is where I grew up. I just grew up like any other African boy growing up in the rural areas. Just looking after the cattle, goats and cattle, playing around, and doing all house chores, just like any other normal. But let me say, our growing up was a bit good, simply because being a son of a nurse, we were regarded a bit as a middle class by our standard. Because I can remember during the Christmas time, our parents used to buy us the men, because we were 8 in the family, 4 men and 4 women. The men wearing the same clothes to go to church, the women wearing the same clothes, and then the goats are slaughtered, and the rice and potatoes. It was a very luxury food at that time, because not many people was having a monthly income in their houses or in the villages. So that's how we grew up. So we just grew up moving around, doing this and that. At that time, the war was not really started up, so to say. But I used to see the white certificate with thing, probably they were not soldiers, but probably they were police officers, because I can remember, although I was very young then, they used to wear camouflage uniforms. Even our parents, or let's say the public, they give them different name that referring to the clothing that looks like leaves, because they were used to wear camouflage uniforms. However, later, soon after the Angola got independence, 1975, during the 76 there around, the army started building bases along the borders. At our area, they came to build a base at a village just maybe 1 kilometer from Congo itself. The village was known as Pangwe. But soon after, before they started building, while they were building, rather, the base was attacked by the group of clan fighters. And then they abandoned the base, they relocated in Congo itself. It's just a few distance, because where they were building maybe 1 or 2 kilometers, and then they just came in Congo itself. So from there, it has been happened like that. But soon, December or November there, the first group of clan fighters, 1977, they have passed through our villages. They were probably a platoon, because they were around 30 or so. But among that group that passed through our village, one of them was my own brother, biological brother. His name was Franz. They passed through the village. It was afternoon, I can remember. And then they went to the other side, because our village is very big. They went to the other side of the village, where they invited everybody to attend. They made a political meetings there, mobilizing people, made them to understand what the purpose of struggle and all that. However, we, the children, we were not allowed to go. Or let's say children from our homestead, because others had attended. So the next day that followed, my brother and I, one of my brother and I, we were plowing our mango field with cattle. And then now he was talking a lot of stories, what happened to the meeting, imitating the songs they were singing, and talking a lot of stories they were saying, the message that were being delivered and all that. However, he told me, no, there are so many things that I never told you. He said that I never knew that the things that he never told me is the presence of our brother. I only later learned, because at that time I also started attending school. When I went to school the other day, our colleagues, the learners that attended the meeting, they were talking. No, the France was also there. We saw him and all that. And now I knew, okay, so the things that he was saying, he is not going to tell me is the presence of our brother. So it went on. So somewhere in 1978, I cannot remember the month actually. The resident, the detachment, which was under the leadership of a certain commander, Philippus Kumakamati, they came to set up a military base in Angola, probably 15 to 20 kilometers from the border. So these are the group that came now to operate permanently in our areas, because now they were just, it was called the Far Eastern Detachment. Now these are the soldiers who came to know, operating in our areas, moving around the villages here and there. However, the schemes are starting to appear now, because South Africa now, they started sending patrols around the Congo base. Here and there, they meet with plan fighters, shooting took place, plan ran away, and all that thing. It has been just going on like that. At that time, Mfitu was not yet introduced. So we just used to see plant fighters walking at the wheel as if carefree, moving any time of the day, whether it's during the night, the day, with their guns on their shoulders. Sometimes you might even see a group of maybe hundreds of just moving around or going straight to the south. We don't know where they were going, but because they don't necessarily tell you that they were going. We're just passing through, giving food here and there. We started being acquainted with them. Our parents even came to the point of slaughtering goats or cow for them just to feed them, because they were just getting food from the locals. So I was attending school then. I have seen so many things happening. Sometimes I can spend even 1 or 2 years before going to school, because teachers were being harassed. Sometimes they're being harassed, they run away, and then some years passed without going to school. And all that, I've even seen the teachers being arrested from school because apparently they were giving support to SWAPO, money, whatever. So through that, which was happening, we were becoming now politically enlightened, for the lack of better word. Because we see now, no, these things that are happening to our parents or to our teachers were not good. And then we started now putting ourselves in a struggle, so to say. There was even a time where I used to work as an informer of the plant fighters. Let's say, for instance, the South African camp at a certain area. You go there, we go there, if you go to ask for sweets or so anything. But I was very young, so there was no suspicion. You go there, you ask for sweet, they give you the sweet, but I'm looking for how many were they, which type of guns were they having and all that. When the plant fighter come, because they most of the time they were those who are walking around with civilian folks. You go back, you give them information. This is, I counted maybe 15 or 20, whatever the number might be. They are having these guns and like this. And then from there himself, because he's a trained soldier, you discover that, oh, the gun is talking, maybe it's a machine gun with a motor or whatever the case might be. That is how it went. So later on, in the 1985, end of 1985, I passed standard 5. Then I have to go to the next year, beginning of 1986, I have to go to the Osela Secondary School, which was in Congo itself. It started standard 6. I went there. At that time, the political atmosphere in the country was really heating up because the people were kind of ignoring the South African rule, so to say. I found people, students in a Osela Secondary School were kind of politicized because we spend most of our time singing what you call revolutionary songs, you see, discussing this and that about politics and the struggle, and then talking about the possibility of implementing the resolution 435 and so many other political activities. We were not much interested in education anymore because we were kind of politicized, so to say. That was 96. And then in 1997, some of my colleagues and I decided, no, we should just leave this school and go in exile. So one morning, my colleagues, probably were about 7 men, including one of the teachers. And they are around five girls. We decided, no, we should go in exile. So we decided maybe after 2 days, and then the third day we packed our bags. And so we just passed through the gate of the secondary school and we went. We took our bags, we followed the road, at Sandaria Road now, towards Enana. We just walked. We were kind of many, so the vehicle cannot just take few and leave others behind. So we just started, we just have to walk. Later on that afternoon, we were tired, and then we came to a certain village, Kongo and Enana there, and then we started to sleep. We went in a certain house, homestead. We slept. Tomorrow morning, we woke up, we walked. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we probably slept about 2 days then. The other day, we came in Enana itself. We passed through, we walked, we came at the village of Katope. Katope is a village between Enana and the Onuno. Onuno is a place where the road that from Ndangwa to Angwena is. At Katope, we decided to sit down and rest. While we were resting there, we found, the army came. They were passing by with their rifles. They have seen us, and then they decided to come us and ask, where are you going and what? And then we told them lies. Our teacher was acting as our group leader now. The answer to them, no, we are going to Congo. Actually, he lied to them because Congo is where we are coming from, but we said that we are going. Now, one of the soldiers, probably the commander, he decided that he will look a lift for us so that we can take into Congo while they are. He stood in the middle of the road, trying to stop the cars that were passing by. Whatever they were telling him, we could not tell because he did not hear, but probably they told him that they were not going for Congo, they were full, or whatever the reason might be. Later on, after he stood there and then there was no progress, they decided to go back in their rifles and drove up. However, while that was going on, there's a certain teacher, Mr. Imungi, he's a teacher at Okato. He was standing in his homestead and watching us, watching the whole proceeding. And they probably, by look of things, he knew already that we were going in exile in Angola. After the army left, he drove his vehicle quickly to us, told us to put our bags in the car, and then told us to climb. He drove us to Angwena itself, Angwena town itself. And he dropped us there. And then he went back. That day, we slept in one of my cousins' home. He was a teacher that side. The next morning, we went out. But at that time now, we were numbered around probably 120 or even more, because now we met a lot of people just in the way there. Some were being dropped by vehicle coming from all over the places. So our bags were taken by vehicle to Odibo missionaries. Because it's just a village. There was a missionary, Anglican missionaries that was hosted there. So our bags were taken to Odibo so that, because we could not just walk with bags in the villages on foot. Obviously, somebody would get suspicious that, because at that time, many people were crossing the border on a daily basis. So for the security reasons, they decided, no, let's take the bags first, then drop them there. Then when you reach there, you just pick your bag, and then we were now many people. When we came in Odibo, we could not find our bags. Wherever they were taken, nobody knows. But we decided not to look for bags. We just crossed. It was probably around 1 o'clock during the day. So we went to the border. There was somebody was riding a bicycle following the cut line, just looking for suspicious movement so that we could cross peacefully. That somebody came and he indicated that no, there's no suspicious movement along the border. So he told us that we should run and cross. So the whole group just ran and crossed the border. And so we started walking. We walked until it was a nightfall. Sleeping at a certain homestead. Our colleagues, because we were together with the workers and people who were working in the south of the country and all that, they bought a goat from the village, from the homestead headman. It was not enough for all of us. So the next morning, we walked again. Now we are going towards Sonjivana. We walked, slept again on the way. The next morning, we wake up and then we walk. Early in the morning, we arrived at Onjiva. But close to Onjiva itself, we found the temporary base of plant fighters who were camped there. After they received us, the food was cooked, rice and fish. We were served with food. Our names was recorded for the first time in their books there. Then after some time, we got 4 or 5 plant fighters. They took us on foot. They walk on front, we follow them. Until we came to a certain place, trees near the Onjiva gate. There we found a lot of plant fighters and a lot of civilians that were joining the struggle. Okay. After that, our names were written, recorded again in their books, and then we stayed there until it was around probably 8 o'clock or 9, somewhere there during the evening. The vehicle came, climbed on board of the vehicle. They took us somewhere towards the north of Angola. Not north, but towards around Sangongo there. I saw the Cuban for the first time because we passed at their base with fuel. So we never knew who they were. Some people will say, "Oh, these are Portuguese." What? Then one of the plant fighters said, "No, these are not Portuguese. Those are the people that we've been hearing." After we followed the vehicle started again, we dropped at a certain trans camp near the Kunene River in Angola. Here we found so many people there that who came, who were just coming almost on a daily basis. We stayed there for probably 3 weeks or so, just doing nothing, playing. People, they came with these dominoes and cards, poker cards and all that, just playing around, going to the river to shower. So I was saying, when I went in exile, I did not went to actually to go further my just plant fighters were coming. They were telling us, no, when you go there, you are going to make your own decisions, whether you are going for military or going to school. That is how naive we were, because we were just believing what we were being told without knowing what's really happening on the other side. Okay, so we went. When we came to the certain place, because we passed through the city of Ubango. We came to a certain place, our camp now, SWAPO camp now. It was called the Marxism Youth Centers. Without knowing, it was a center that was operated by the SWAPO intelligence guys. Now, immediately after we were dropped off, the group was divided up, and then we were being questioned. Thorough question. What is your name? Who are your parents? What are they doing? And all that. What brought you to SWAPO? And so many other questions. Thoroughly questioned. After that, what happened then was that because the names were being written as well. Everywhere you go, your name is recorded, where you came from, and what. From there, they say, now you have to name yourself a combat name. Because names that you're using, your home name, Joseph, whatever, that those are not the names that we're using. We keep them as your record, but you have to name yourself a combat name that you are going to be using all the time you are here. So I name myself Mfitu Homata. Mfitu Homata is just simply means armed jungle. That's the name I took. Actually, I named myself after one of the plant fighters that came at our areas, early 70s. That was his combat name. I just took it off. Okay, from there, we were divided up. Those probably were seen to be too young. They were taken to a certain camp for education. It was called the Greenwell Machongo. Then some of us, many of us, were taken to a different camp again. It was known as Jonas Aidua training camp. So we stayed there for many months. I cannot even remember how many. So we were just doing kind of a training, but it's not really a training, just an introduction what to come. While we were there, we were just being guarded by the platoon of plant fighters and doing this work. Go and collect firewood, do that. In the afternoon, the training, these push-ups and what, those kind of stuff. By then, the trucks have been coming, taking some people to go for because our main base was known as guerrilla training base was known as Tobias Anyeko training camp. Now the trucks have been coming, taking some of the people for the training. One morning, they came as usual. The names were being read. Then mine was also included. So we went to the training camp now. We spent about 6 months doing the basic training. First 3 months, you do the infantry. After 3 months, and then you divide it. specialization like mortars, medical, signal, machine gun, rocket launchers, commissariat, many other things. But myself, I remained with the infantry. So after now 6 months, the training was over. Then we had to be prepared, to be sent to the front line. Okay, what happened was that one evening we were taken to a depot to go and receive the new military uniform. Because the first we were given the one we used with the training. Now we have to receive everything from the rucksack, water bottle, boots, the belt, water containers, these canteens, and all that. So the next day again, that following morning time, we take it to the maintenance to get new weapons now. We came there, all the companies now arrived there, from the reconnaissance, commissariat, and infantry, and all that, they arrived there. The crates of new firearm were lying down the ground, opened, were given a firearm. Those who have machine gun, they were given machine gun, RPG, 7, and what, all the firearms. You go there to the secretary, you write your name, your serial number of your firearm, your name and your combat name and everything. Then you given your firearm, you clean up the oil and all that, and then you start thinking there, and then everybody, all the company was finished. From there, we were taken back to our sleeping quarters because we have now to prepare now for waiting for the truck to come and take us to the border. So one early morning, we waken up, packed our everything, went to another parade. We used to call it but before that, we had to from the president, president of SWAPO then, he had to come and close our training. He came, the whole camp came together at the general parade. Then the president talked at length, encouraging us how to behave, how to fight, how we need us to be brave and all that, and talked a lot of political speech and all that. So Soviet officers, they were also there. Those are informers, not informers, but advisors, because they were there advising our military strategy and what. So they came there. One of them, probably their senior, talked to us as well. He told us, we are not going to meet again. We are only going to meet in Windu. You are going to be Namibian, and we are going to be your important guest, is what he said. Okay, from there now we went to another parade after 2 days or so. We go now to be taken to the border. The parade, we just sit there, somewhere talking this and that in group of 2, 3, or 4, talking this and that until we get tired. And then some of us were sleeping, lying down on our helmet or our kitty bags and all that, just waiting. Nothing was being said. Later afternoon, we just said, wake up, clean up. Our seniors were coming to get us off. So we stayed there, they talked to us. We stood in our platoon, they talked to us. Almost the same thing, encouraging us how to be brave and what to expect as plant fighters. It's just a lot of encouragement and songs and all that. Later on, the truck came. There were probably around 10 or so different types of trucks. They came, we climbed on board, we went. It was now 88 somewhere there, 1988 somewhere there. Yeah, cannot really remember, but it's around probably, yeah. Okay, no problem. We went. the vehicle were just driving very slowly because we later known that they prefer to drive during the night for security reasons, probably. Driving through the city of Ubango, we connected that road that connects Chicago to Angola. We drove the whole night, just very slowly, very slowly. Later on, at that time, our forces planned to ban Fapula. They moved back in the area, this side of Sangongo areas and all those, because at that time South Africans were known to have left Angola, probably because of these negotiations that were going on, implementation of Resolution 435. So we arrived as the one of our battalion was known as 3rd Battalion. It was around about 10 o'clock morning. From there, we just have to stay there, the battalion, for about a few weeks while preparation were being done to divided into different unities. Some were divided, some went for those for artillery, went for signal and all that. Myself and many others, those of us for infantry, were taken to a Moscow battalion. It was a battalion known as Moscow Battalion. There we found, at that time, the operation were kind of scaled down a bit. Not much was going on, probably because of the negotiations. We just started training again, doing some of the subjects that we did back at the training camp and the new other things that we never did. Just doing that, and then digging trenches and all that. However, the new group, were also given the responsibility to patrol our base areas every morning, just to see if there's enemy activities and interacting with the local people and all that. Again, we used to patrol there was another battalion northern side of us. It was very far. It was known as Bravo Battalion. Now it was also our responsibility to patrol that road, that connecting Bravo to Moscow Battalion, just to see if there's enemy activities going on there. That's all what we were doing mostly. So fast forward, one morning, not really morning, but around 1 o'clock, 12 to 1 o'clock there, I was just called. Few of my colleagues and I were just called to go to the battalion headquarters. They said that take your bag, we are going to the mission. Okay, we take our bags. When we came to the battalion headquarters, the gas truck was already there waiting for us. We were never told where we were going. They just said, climb on that car, let's go. We passed through at several other bases. We picked up 3 or 4 members. And then we came to the commanding headquarters. There was a commanding headquarters that commands all the units on the border. We came to the commanding headquarters where we found one of our seniors, chief of operation, General Martin Chag. Yeah. He told us for the first time that your mission is this one. You are going to help your colleagues that are operating with FAPLA. That time we never even knew that apart from our mechanized brigade that were operating far, far away on the northern side of Angola, we never knew that there's another group that were operating with FAPLA in Kunene province. We thought that we are going to reinforce them. And so we moved that night. Then we came to Onjiva because it's when our colleagues were training with FAPLA, just doing retraining for the mission because FAPLA were preparing to go and hit the winter bases in Kwantu Kubango area of Angola. We joined them. The first day we slept, the open. The next morning we were introduced to our colleagues. We found a lot of FAPLAs there, planned with weapons like BMP vehicles, BM21, all those kind of stuff. we start training now. We're kind of introduced to the regular army kind of. We have trained with them for almost maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Then so one morning we hit the road. We went to the eastern side, but we were never told exactly what we were taking. We never knew whether we were taking a known basis or we were just doing a search and destroy mission. So we came to the certain places. We slept in places here and there. And then we hit the UNITA base for the first time. It was quite because UNITA on that side of Bango was very entrenched. They were very uniformed forces there in big groups. Maybe the semi-regular battalion, because some of them they had Land Rovers, machine guns, and all that, and so many other things. We hit several bases, but in my third combat, I was injured. And I have to go to the hospital. I was rescued. I went to Bango. I was taken to Bango Pitanyanyimba Military Hospital. I stayed there for almost a month, and I came back. I recovered. I came back. We hit several bases there, doing this and that. And I was injured again for the second time. When I was injured for the second time, at that time it was already 1989, maybe January. Yeah. Okay, I came back to hospital. It was not January. It was around February. Yeah. Okay, I came back to the unit, and then I injured the second time, and then I had to come back to the clinic. But that time I was not taken to Bank. We had a bush clinic there that received all the people that are getting injured on the battlefield before they were taken further if they were so serious. So I went there. Then we had so many tents, the clinic. Some they came there because of malaria, some they came because of that and that, those were injured and all that. So I came. Now the 1st of April now was about to be, the ceasefire was about to be. Then we had our radio, this normal FM radio that we used to listen to the political situation in the country and all that. So 1st of April, it was Sunday, I can remember, I would just hear the radio announcers was speaking on Oshwambo, was calling the 101 battalion. 101 battalion, please hurry up, hurry up. The country is divided, the police is fighting the heavy armed terrorists and what. So that was the 1st of April started now. It only took us maybe 2 to 3 days, and then the injured started falling, coming back from inside the country, brought by the vehicle, 1 or 2, 3, sometimes 5, seriously injured, and then those who were serious, they were taken straight to Bangor, to our military hospital there, and so on and so on. So after that, they were later as they were told, no, they must get out of the country, and so on. So they came out, and then those who were on the border now, our battalions and regions, all that were taken, they were told they must move to the 16th parallel, north of somewhere back in Angola. So those of us who were in the clinic were taken straight to Bango. At that time now, it was now the full thing of the repatriation. People were writing their names, check the healthy passport, were being written and check for the fever and all that. And then I think I was in a third group that left Bango to Namibia. It was now repatriation. I came back. When I came back home, my parents were saying no, but not my parents, our group, the leaders now. We are going to form the new Namibian Defense Force. We are going to be reintegrated and all that. And then I decided, no, man, I don't want to go back to military because I want to go back to school. So the year that followed, that was now 1991, January, I said, no, I'm going to see if I can find school. Then I came to Windows. I went to Elato Pelesi Secondary School. Remember, I restarted. I just went back to standard 7, where I ended. By that time, I was a bit older now, because I was turning 21. Went back to school, standard 7, passed standard 8, 1994. I passed matric. I took a course, a short course for tour guide, tourism, tour guide and hospitality. I passed it. I worked for a safari company just for a short period of time. Then I decided, no, this is not the job I want to do. The Namibian police was recruiting, and so I filled up my form. I went to hand it in. Then I was called, so I joined the Namibian police, where I'm still working now with the rank of inspector. Yeah, that's all what I do. But apart from that, so doing farming, both commercial and communal. That's how I keep myself busy. That is me.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. What a wonderful story, man. Thank you. I have a few questions, if you don't mind me asking. I want to know if your family survived as well. Your brother, who was also in plan, I believe your sister too. Did they survive the war?
Yes, they all survived. My brother passed on now, but they all survived, came back.
Now, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Now, you know what, in the South African army, when the youngsters got called up, they got paid about 20 Rand a month, perhaps even less. Were you guys paid anything at all?
No, never paid anything. We volunteers. Yeah. However, there were money being given, but only to certain groups. Let's say, for instance, Typhoon. Probably we heard about Typhoon unit. They were taking long range penetration patrol to the southern side. They were given probably per person, let's say maybe 150 or so. It was not a paid job, it was just money given for their sustenance. Then we had also these other guys that were operating permanently inside the country, mostly in civilian clothes. The guys like intelligence guys, commissars, and even engineers. These guys who were blowing up bridges and all that. Because they were permanently inside the country, most of the civilian clothes, they were given certain amount of money. I do not know how much, but what I know, they were given money just for them to able to buy food or to move around from one place to another. It was not a pay, just money for sustenance. That's all.
Yes, operational expenses, which
Yeah.
is normal. Were they
Yeah.
also, I think I know this, but were you also had like female land fighters with you in your platoons and battalion?
They used to be there, but they were not allowed to come inside the country. They just used to be there, maybe medical, signal, and all that. Yeah. But in my area where I operated, I only left them at Moscow battalion, but to where I went in Fapla, they were not there. They were not there. They were only men. We left them behind.
Okay, so if you meet I mean, you're a young man now, and if you meet a pretty young girl, would you be allowed to have a relationship?
Yeah, it used to happen. The people had a relationship with their girlfriend. Yeah, okay, no, it happened.
Were you ever thinking that the war's going to end, you're going to be victorious, and you can go back home? Was that thinking in your brain at times?
Yeah, we knew that one day the war will end. It's just that we don't know when. Yeah, we knew at one time it will end, but it's just that we don't know when it's going. Yeah. Then we knew that, but some of us already knew that if you are going to win this war, we are not going to win through the barrel of the gun. We only knew that only the negotiation is going to solve. Yeah, that's how we believe. Some of
We found some, these old FM radios, transistor radios. We found some of them on the bodies of your comrades who died. Was that your means of communicating to the rest of the world in the sense of listening what's happening on the radio, perhaps? Like you would find out about Resolution 435, things like that.
no, FM radio were mostly acquired just maybe from the public members, just to be to listen to what was happening. Yeah, political wise, what was happening in the country. Yeah, that was actually the purpose of just listening to be updated. Mostly political, whether it's the other country, because most of the time we knew that if America say this, probably we are not going to achieve our independence soon. If what say this, if British say that, South Africa is saying this and all that. Those are the things that we were being listened to through those radios. We were not given by the organization itself, although our big seniors, but let's say the battalion level, they were given radios to update themselves. But we on the ground will just acquire it through the different means to just able to listen to what was happening around us.
Now, you people had something which is called political commissaris. Were these people respected? Were they wise people?
Yeah, political commissar were all the political commissars were officers. They had a different work. They work like what we call now chaplain, or so to say, not in the same level. Because let me tell you, first priority of the commissar was if the soldier is demoralized, maybe they went to the battle, he lost his comrade, demoralized and all that. They have to when he come back, you have to talk to the commissar just to encourage him and put back political spirit in him, telling him why he had to go through difficulties, he had to cope with it because the aim was independence and all that. And again, the one purpose was just to enlighten the fighters how the struggle was going, whether it's in the country or world over. And then those who were working at the department level, their job was to influence the public inside the country now, or even on the border in Angola, just to support the struggle, telling them how we were fighting for the country. There were so many strategies used by the political commissar because you cannot just become a political commissar. You have to go through a certain training to be able to talk, what not to say. And that's why even what I'm saying that you were told that you are going to make a choice, it's work of the political commissar. Sometimes what they are telling you is not really what is really happening, but they are trying all the way to convince you to believe certain things, only later to find out that this is how it's not what I was being told. Yeah, it's what the job of the commissar.
Yes, I've heard some South African generals actually on the show say that the chaplains in the South African army fulfilled the same role in a certain sense, of course, by keeping people happy. But we were told that you guys are all communists. You very hardline people. We can't speak to you. We must shoot you at sight. Is that true, Joseph? Were you guys all communists, or were you just fighting for your country?
We were just fighting for our country. Let me tell you the thing. Obviously, we were getting help from most of the communist countries. Most of our help was coming from there. But I cannot say I was a communist or a communist because we had a free in our camp where let's say our Lubango, where the people have a more kind of free. They were going to their different churches. Like Catholic, you go to there were pastors there, or you go to Lutheran church, or you go wherever. No one preventing you from believing in what you believe. So even in a training, I found a constitution because we were taught to SWAPO constitution. It was a revised constitution. They were talking about that we are fighting to introduce a democracy. There's no way I made something like saying we are going to fight to introduce a communism or whatever. Those were just things that were being said probably because we were being helped mostly by the communist people. Themselves, maybe they were thinking that we are helping these people to introduce communism, but that was not our aim. That's why we are democracy even up today in Namibia. Not by choice, but is what we want to achieve. Unless maybe I misled somewhere, but that's what I believe, that we were not communist.
Yeah, that's fascinating because we actually have evidence for this. Because if you look at what happened after the elections, even in South Africa, the Communist Party is nowhere. It's a zero on a contract. It's not supported. There's few people who care about what they do or don't do. So to say that everybody was communist was just plain wrong. It just wasn't true. Even though, as you say, you were supported by the communist parties. But then it probably is because no one else would want to support you, from the traditional Western countries. Or let's call them the colonial powers. But looking back now, do you think leaving to go to the war and then come back as a adult man and have to go back to school, do you think that was a wise choice? Would you do it again?
You mean to go in exile?
Yes.
You mean to go in exile?
Was it a good choice for you to do that? Or looking back now, you think perhaps, in other words, Joseph, was it worth it?
Yeah, I have no regret, but sometimes I used to think that probably had I not gone in exile, probably I've taken a different career now, which I wanted to be. But because actually I wanted to become a professional, so but actually I have no regret. But I think it was a good decision, good, bad, whatever. There's not much one can do about it. Yeah, but I have no regret anymore.
Do you feel any sense of anger against the South Africans who are fighting against you?
Never. I have no grudges against her. Remember now, I'm a police officer, and in my job, I worked with a lot of South African people, white, black, those who worked in the army, police, kufu, whatever. We were just fine, friends. I worked with Dan Kotze, maybe it's your family. He was a warrant officer. He left the job now, actually, but we were just working fine. My own driver, when I was doing a crime prevention, he was a member of Shwambo man. He was a member of 101 battalion. We worked fine, no problem. We just sharing, making jokes, sharing war stories and all that. I worked with some guys who worked in Kufu. We just talk our stories, some making jokes. If I could have found you, it's them now. If I could have found you, I put you on the bambas and what. We just laughed it off and then we go on, life goes on, no problem. I was saying, I think to the people who are on the front line shooting each other, it's easy to reconcile. Then somebody was at school there because we knew, because even if I'm taking a gun and shoot, I'm not shooting because I'm angry. No, I'm shooting because this is something I have. Not that I'm angry with you or what. That's why it was easy. We have so much respect among ourselves. Unlike those who have been just maybe in a hotel somewhere in Europe, when he come, that's why most of the time are the people here talking this and that, the grudge, holding a bit of grudges. But to us, it's just
In South Africa, the veterans are quite angry because they feel that the government is not taking care of them. Some of them still have wounds, some of them still have injuries, and some of them has mental scars, which the war brought to them. And they feel that they're not being looked after. How is it in Namibia? Is the government looking after you people?
yeah, no. What happened is just that we were given a kind of lump sum, and then once then there's certain money for project. If you want to involve yourself in a kind of business, you're given that money. Once you retire, you are also putting on a payroll of a veteran certain amount of money. Probably if you are lucky, the government will bury you as well. Still, we hear a sentiment like this and that. Some people are not happy; they want more money and all that. But government, I think, is taking care of us. Probably not to the satisfaction of everybody, but I think they are doing something.
Yeah, it seems to me that they're taking better care of you guys than they certainly did with us. But I've really enjoyed this conversation so much, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions coming out. And I want to ask everybody here, if you think there's going to be a question or you have a question for Joseph, please just write it down here, and we can look at a further episode and perhaps, answer these questions in a further episode, because I'm very sure that I haven't asked all the questions which you guys want. And again, I want to invite the SWAPO members, please come and speak to us. Let us hear your side of the story. We are really fascinated, and we really want to know more about you. So, Joseph, thank you so much. And as we say here at Legacy, until we meet again, God bless you.
Thank you, Koos. God bless.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.